Welcome to the April Farm to School Network meeting. Glad to have you all here. It was spring break for me last week, so I am still trying to get back in gear of all my work projects, but it's a good way to be starting back into work projects, getting to have a meeting with you all. So I want to take a look at our agenda first. We will start with some introductions for anybody who might be joining us for the first time today. And then I have a few network updates to share. And then we're going to hear about some of KDA's Farm to School programs. John Kane from Feeding Kentucky, Kentucky Kids Eat, has brought us some stuff about farm to summer meals. And we'll do our usual Jamboard activity where I'll invite you all to share any updates that you have. And then we have some of our school garden grantees joining us today to share about their plans for their school garden grants. So that ended up being a lot of things on today's agenda. So I want to go ahead and jump right in and see if we have anybody new today who's joining a network call for the first time. We would love for you to introduce yourself, tell where you are in Kentucky, and what your role is in Farm to School.
This is my first meeting. My name is Deb Winkler. I'm with Holmes Middle School here in Covington, Kentucky, and we have received one of your grants for our middle school.
Thanks, Deb. So we're going to hear more from Deb later on. Anybody else new to the Farm to School Network here joining us for the first time?
Hi, this is Tanya Queen, and we also received a grant for Catlettsburg Elementary. So this is my first meeting and looking forward to getting started with our grant project.
Thanks, Tanya. Anybody else joining us for the first time? Great. It's good to have a couple of new folks here. One more of our school garden grantees is going to join us, but he has bus duty right now, so we'll hear from Tommy Collins here in a bit. So a couple of things I wanted to share from the network. Friday was the due date for applications proposals to the Regional Food System Infrastructure Grant. So that was grant money from KDA for farms and food businesses. And I know of several farms that are selling to schools that were applying to this grant. So we're really excited to see what's going to happen with those and the cool projects that are going to come out of that. Next, we're going to hear from our garden grantees. Some of them are going to have joined us today. We'll hear from them later in our meeting. So that's an exciting thing that's been happening. We're still working on getting interns hired for all of those projects. So it's in process and happening. Another thing that the network is busy with is working with partners to prepare for the Kentucky School Nutrition Association meeting in June. So that'll be the biggest meeting in Kentucky for school nutrition professionals over 3 days in Lexington. And we I've worked with folks at KDA and UK and some of our distributors to put in a couple of proposals for sessions there. And we're also working on planning for the trade show where they have all the different school food vendors, and we will have a booth there for the Farm to School Network to try to remind all of our school food service professionals that Kentucky farms have a lot to offer to schools. So that'll be in June, and then planning is ongoing for the first Kentucky Farm to School Summit, which will be either late November or early December. The next planning meeting is in June also. So lots of things getting planned and in the works. Anybody have questions about any of these things before we go on? Okie dokie. I wanted to share April is gardening month and also kids gardening month. And there is this contest that's going right now that is for kids who are involved in gardening to tell what they love the most about gardening. And there's a variety of ways that kids can submit their what they love about gardening. And there will be 8 winners in 4 age groups, and there will be a grand prize winner. So let me see if I can get this. I'm going to see if I can put this link in the chat. Oh, I don't know if I can. Let me. I will see if I can come back and make sure you all get that link. Next thing is this. This is for classroom teachers. This is a grant that's open right now. There are $500 grants for materials and resources for grades pre-K all the way through 12th grade for core classroom instruction teachers to add agriculture elements to their classrooms. So that's from National Ag in the Classroom, and it's in the form of you can get materials from their store or one other source that they have for those that you can use that money to get stuff for a classroom. So $500 for classroom teachers. That is now through April 18th. So I can't see who all I have in the room. I don't know that we've got Tina here yet, unless maybe that's Tina on the phone. Tina Garland with Kentucky Department of Agriculture. Is that you, Tina, on the phone?
Yes, it is. I had to unmute myself. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Tina has been working on, has run an announcement in our newsletter the last couple months about stuff going on with junior chefs. And I didn't know how familiar people are with that program, so I wanted Tina to have a chance to talk about what's going on with junior chefs right now, but also just how that program works.
Great. Thank you, Lori. It's great to be here today and to share with everybody about our Junior Chef program. We're super excited this year. We have made some changes this year to our program. So we're really hoping that these changes will help streamline and encourage more students to participate. But for you, those of you that do not know about Junior Chef or have been affiliated with Junior Chef, it is a cooking competition that focuses on students from grades 8 through 12, and they develop a recipe following the National School Lunch Plan guidelines, and with a strong focus, really with their main focus on farm fresh products and sourcing from local farmers. They are required to use one commodity product. So that also kind of builds the knowledge for our students of how our food service directors, what they are needing to purchase and how they are needing to prepare their foods using commodity products, but also pull in that fresh local product. So this year we are going to do, it's called like a one and done. We used to have a Sweet 16 type of format, but that required the students to cook their same dish probably at least up to 3 times going into that last competition. And that was just very overwhelming for students as far as, number one, just that stage presence all 4 times, cooking that same dish. But then also it was a hardship with students getting out of school and things such as that. So this year we're going to a one-time cook competition, which it does, set the bar a little higher for the students, but they're really excited about it. So our dates this year for the state fair, we would love for everyone to come out and watch our competitions. They're going to be August the 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th. And then our final awards ceremony will be on August the 24th. We'll have more information and concrete times before the fair, before August, but that is what our tentative schedule is right now. We welcome 16 teams. If we have more than 16 teams, we will, what we're doing is April 15th, the students are required to send in their recipes, and we will cook. Chef Rebecca, and then we're going to get our Sullivan Partners students to cook these dishes, and they're going to grade them. So if we have more than 16 teams, those recipes that come in and are cooked and graded by Chef Rebecca and the Sullivan chefs, then that's who's going to go forward to the state fair. So that's kind of new for us this year as well. But again, we're super excited. Chef Rebecca has 15 teams right now that's really interested. Like I said, though, our applications are not due until April 15th. So if you know of a team, they still have time to submit an application. We've also planned workshops across the state this year to work directly with those junior chef teams one-on-one. And Chef Rebecca has had 7 thus far and has scheduled some extras. And then when we figure out who is going to the state fair, she will be doing, again, some one-on-one workshops with them as well. Let's see. We are working something really exciting, too. The winner of our state fair will go on to compete in the Southeast region competitions. So our winners of last year, which was Bath County, they will be competing next month in Tennessee for the Southeast Region Championship. So all the teams travel to Tennessee this next month and will compete down there. We have hosted it since 2018, but the plan for that was that we would, travel, and each state would host every, change each year. So this is our first year for another state to host it. So we're super excited about that. Just some other things concerning our Farm to School at KDA. We have our Chefs in Schools program, and just a little update on that. Chef Rebecca is busy out connecting with food service directors and their staff. And so far from last year up until this year, late last year up into this year, she has visited 25 districts, and that has an average of 3 schools per district, with over 30,000 students impacted. And they have had staff trainings for 30 plus staff at a time. And that will, again, we've reached about 800 staff members. And some of the trainings that Chef Rebecca does will include food safety and sanitation, knife skills, smallwares and equipment, customer service, menu planning, standardized recipes, work plans, hot breakfast items, entree salads, wraps, and box lunches. Those are just some of the training demos that she has done. Some of the milestones that we've reached, our staff are getting excited and interested in cooking again, and then also bringing back raw product. That's a milestone, and there's lots of ground beef and beef products or meat products going into our schools right now, with the support of our Local Foods to Schools grant, which is our LFS grant. I'll give some figures for you in just a few minutes on that. But monthly highlights again for the top products going into our schools right now have been ground beef, apples, and lettuce. And then for our Local Foods to Schools grant, Casey Hillard manages that grant for us. And our total grant was $3.2 million, and we've expended right now 1.5. And the grant period has been extended. It was going to be over this month, the last day of this month in 2024, but we have been extended to 4/30 of 2025. So we're super excited about that. We have had 106 participating farmers, and 47 of those farmers have been disadvantaged farmers. We have 93 school districts participating, and we are able to give a second allocation of funding to a lot of those school districts that have spent all of their money or are requesting more. And then some of the top highlights for products with that has been, again, ground beef, apples, strawberries, and lettuce. And then Woodford County was on the front page of the sheep industry news for serving lamb to the students, which they really enjoyed that. In the farm to school area, we have our farm to school grants that have been awarded, and we are getting our contracts underway and getting funding to those grantees, our 6 grantees, and we've had our grantee gathering. So we are moving forward, and Farm to School is excited to possibly partner and help Laurie with the KSNA conference, and so we're moving right ahead. Thanks, Laurie.
Thank you, Tina. I don't know if you could see this, Tina, but I had some slides that Casey sent me. So I had some of the stuff that she prepared for the local food summit that going along with some of what you were talking about there.
She may have updated some of that information. That was as of 4/1.
So I'll just go ahead and show you. I had 3 more slides that Casey sent. These are just photos of some of the local food for schools LFS money in action at Union County schools. Lots of beautiful fruits and vegetables there. And in LaRue County schools is really cool. The project is funding student grown hydroponic lettuce for their school meals program. So you see some of the students there with their products. And at Henry County schools, a variety of different produce there, melons and corn and blackberries. I love all these beautiful pictures of fresh stuff being served in schools. All right. Now we come to the part of meeting where we ask you all to make some updates. Also, let me get you a Jamboard link and we will there we go. We'll invite you to add your updates also. So there's the Jamboard link, and you can open that up, and at the top you can scroll through the pages. There's a page for what's going on in school gardens, a page for what's going on in cafeterias, one for what's going on in classrooms and education, and then other good stuff that's happening across Kentucky and farm to school. Oh, hey, Maddie. I didn't put that on our agenda today because I thought we were going to be too late for it. Do you want to say something about grants?
Sure. Fuel Up grants, the deadline was today, but it's got extended till February 16th. And that's for school food service that want to do smoothies with some of your great blackberries that I saw pictures of, or any of that grapefruit. Smoothie grants are available, but also they do equipment kits. So that's what I mean when I say a smoothie kit's available. And then the other kit option is a mobile meal cart, which is also great to display those apples and grapes and things like that. Cucumbers. So if any of your schools are interested in doing the mobile meal carts, let them know they can apply for more than one school in their district, and that is open until the 16th. So we would love to see some grants. We're expecting about 16 to be awarded in the state. So that's awesome.
Okay. Thanks, Maddie.
Yeah.
Where's the information for that to email to schools?
It's on fuelup.org. They actually posted on the National School Nutrition Association Facebook page, like a picture of the kits and stuff. But
Okay.
fuelup.org is the website.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Monica, I've shared that on our network Facebook page and put it in our newsletter also, but it didn't have the extended deadline on it.
Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm. So our farmer friend David Neville's put some pictures in the chat. Got an exciting project going on installing a new greenhouse for growing lettuce for Henry County schools.
Hey, Lori.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I can share there were two pictures there. One, kind of the front of the greenhouse, still standing. The other picture was damage from a tornado that was about 100 yards from my fence line. As a friend of mine said, texted me watching the map, said it's jumped the river, and I think the tornado has your address in its GPS. And so we did a lot of work on that greenhouse, and it was headed right toward it. And unfortunately, we had some damage with neighbors, but the greenhouse survived. So,
We've had 2 school districts affected by tornadoes since the beginning of this year. Maybe more than that, but let me see if I can get us back to our slides. John, I think you're up next on the agenda, just so you know.
Okay, can I share my screen?
You sure can. I can do that instead of.
Let me
just
open this from, let me stop real quick. Don't open it up, and that way I can get where I'm at. I want to introduce myself real quickly. I'm John Kane. Some of you may remember me from my years in Kentucky working with another organization, but I am now currently with Feeding Kentucky in the role of Kentucky Kids Eat Program Director. I will have to warn you, I am broadcasting from Buckhorn, and my Wi-Fi is a little spotty. So if there's some glitches in what I'm saying or anything like that, I do apologize. So let me get to the presentation. And Laurie had asked me to talk a little bit about Farm to Summer, particularly its reach in what the potential could be in Kentucky. I thought I had that slide up, and I'm not great with technology, guys, so bear with me. I've been a healthcare provider for the last 10 years, and what I have discovered is that technology has changed in a decade. So I was familiar with the EMR, and now I've got to learn all the other things. So Farm to Summer, I'm trying to get full screen here. So let me see if I can do that. It's gonna let me. I don't think it will. Anyway, this is a ripe opportunity to extend the reach of farm to school and local foods during the hungry season for Kentucky kids. And I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't talk a little bit about hunger. Kentucky Kids Eat is the official statewide hunger relief program of Feeding Kentucky. And our mission is to connect kids to healthy meals 365 days a year. I am a one-person program, so the entire program, what gets done is rests with me. So what we try to do, or our program does, is we have coined the 4 P's to hunger-free approach, which is to publicize the problem of hunger and food insecurity among Kentucky kids, promote evidence-based strategies that curb those problems, partner to put those strategies in practice, and then push for policies that serve as legislative solutions. So the gist of what I do ties into one of those 4 components. So food insecurity among Kentucky kids is pretty significant. We have, and food insecurity, I don't know if you guys are familiar with that term, that is defined as kids who at some point during the year lack access to enough food for an active and healthy life. And the map that I have on the screen is from Map the Meal Gap of Feeding America. It's an interactive tool that you can go on and look at by state, county, or congressional district. It's really one of the only tools that we have to look at county level data on food insecurity. As you can see, every county in Kentucky is home to food insecure kids. And there's approximately 155 children in our state and across the Commonwealth that are food insecure. It's a statistic that's hard for me to just think about, because that's 155,000 children that at some point lack enough food for health to be healthy and active. And that boils down to about 1 in 6 Kentucky children. So how does Kentucky Kids Eat ensure that kids get fed? We really rely on child nutrition programs, particularly federally funded child nutrition programs that are administered by the state, as well as promotion of nutrition assistance programs such as SNAP, WIC, temporary assistance for needy families to help fill those gaps. But for children, while school is in session, school meals provide a reliable source of adequate nutrition during the school year. But now when the school year's in, there is that gap. And during the summer gap, or some folks would call it the summer nutrition gap, the summer meal gap, food insecurity rises significantly and the risk of hunger increases. And this is what we consider summer to be the hungriest time of year for Kentucky kids. That's a ripe opportunity for something called summer meal programs for kids. And what we have in Kentucky is we have 2 programs that operate summer meals. One is the Summer Food Service Program, which is USDA funded. that is administered by KDE or the Department of Education. And that's an option for schools, community-based organizations, colleges and universities, government agencies, and nonprofit organizations to provide meals free of charge to kids in what are considered area eligible sites. The kids living within the area have to 50% or at least 50% of the children living in that area must qualify for free and reduced lunch. The other option is an extension of the National School Lunch Program, which is something called the Seamless Summer Option, which is just for schools only. So in Kentucky, we have overwhelmingly the sponsors participate in the summer food service program. We have a number of school districts, a handful of districts that do the Seamless Summer Option. As I said, both are federally funded, state administered programs. And essentially, what I said, they provide meals to children free of charge at eligible sites. In Kentucky, because we have high rates of free and reduced children, much of Kentucky is what's considered county-wide eligibility, so that a site in any location within the county will qualify to be part of the meals program. And for this upcoming summer, we have 111 of our 120 counties have county-wide eligibility for sites. All right. But I spend a lot of time working with the folks at KDA around summer meals. So it is a ripe opportunity for locally grown. I mean, this is a market that I think that if we as a network can move into, we can really create opportunities for our local producers and get the food when it's the freshest and most nutritious to our kids. But if you just take a glimpse at what summer meals, the reach of summer meals in Kentucky last year, we served almost 5.3 million summer meals from June to August across the state. In total, there were 173 sponsors of summer meals across the state. 10 of those did SOS, 163 of those did summer food service. And altogether, there were 2,074 sites in Kentucky. Now, last year we were able, this is actually Kentucky where all the summer meal programs were. So 117 of Kentucky's 120 counties had at least one meal site through SOS or SFSP for any length of time from June to August. Now that's a long sentence, and I'll tell you why. Because some of these sites did not remain open the entire summer. They were only open for a couple of weeks, but and that's a different map, and this conversation is not about that. But I will tell you there are 20 counties in Kentucky that kids don't have consistent access to summer meals throughout the duration of the break from the end of one school year to the end. And I'm working on that too. But I'm focusing on summer, farm to summer today. But this is where there were sites. So for producers, if you have a product, there's a site almost everywhere in Kentucky where you could put that into a summer meal program with a connection. So do you guys remember this analysis that you guys did? Looking at local school food procurement? Well, if you turn to page, I believe that's 25, my glasses aren't strong enough, and a guy that lives about 11 miles from me down Highway 28 over toward Owsley County, Ted Johnson, who runs South Fork Farms, said if you could develop a school market for the summer feeding program, it would help due to June, July, and August being the peak production season in Kentucky, especially for produce. Well, we have that market. We just have to nurture it. We have to develop it. We have to connect our producers to our sponsors so that we can get local product into our schools. So now, what exactly is farm to summer? Well, the USDA, I like to think of it as farm to school, maybe with sunscreen, something like that with the summer, because what you're doing is you're taking the core elements of farm to school and just extending it over the gap in school years. So much like summer meals bridge the gap between that school meals leave behind when the school year ends, farm to summer is that gap filler for farm to school. So you have components of locally produced foods and summer meal sites, hands-on activities with enrichment, and it really aligns best with Kentucky's growing season because there's much more, and I'm going to show a slide about Kentucky's harvest during the summer, but you also expand the market because you don't have not just schools, and most school districts are providing summer meals too. You also have those organizations and other groups that are providing summer meals that open up possibly new market for our local foods and our local producers. So Kentucky's bountiful summer harvest, there's all kinds of options for food. And this is the seasonal produce guide from Kentucky Proud, which there's summer, there's a lot that can be grown in Kentucky during the summer, and it will give children the opportunity to be exposed to new foods that they may not be able to get access to during the summer year, the school year, when the food is the freshest. So that's an option to expand tasting and familiarity with foods. But some of the other activities you can do with farm to summer are not besides the locally grown and summer meals. You can choose to have edible meal sites. So the way the programs work is there's a sponsor, and then that sponsor will identify sites typically that were in safe or supervised areas um, of a community to be able to provide summer meals. I have a graphic on libraries. Like, for example, last year, 37 of our county public library systems participated in summer meals as sites. So kids were fed there. So you can choose to take those sites into what are edible locations like farmer markets or school or community gardens where you can feed children. You can organize garden activities. You can even work with some garden-based organizations in your area or master gardening class to come out and do a lesson around meal times, taste testings, of course, participating in harvest of the month programs, having kickoffs for special events, demonstrations, take field trips to farms and to farmers markets, and then hosting farmer visits to summer meal sites. That is for what's called congregate meals. Last year, and this has been the real game changer, and this is Kentucky's number of summer meals that they produced went up 2 million from 2019. In 2019, we served 3.3 million summer meals. Within the course of 4 years, we're up to 5.3 million meals that we served. And it's because summer meals has legendarily not been able to access rural children. So about 1 out of 6 or 1 out of 7 kids that qualified for free and reduced lunch during the school year lost complete access to the critical nutrition that were provided by these programs because they didn't live in an area where kids could easily get to a venue. You know, I grew up 2 miles from Buckhorn School. If I were to, 2 miles isn't a lot, but if I had to walk along Highway 28 without any sidewalks and curves, it would have been dangerous for me to get there while my parents were working. So for kids like myself that grew up in areas where there wasn't real access or sidewalk infrastructure, summer meals didn't serve us. Well, the USDA finally caught on to that. And I think the pandemic really was the catalyst because they had to take food out to communities and they saw how much further that reach of critical nutrition programs could be when you took it to the people. So last year they did a trial of what's called non-congregate summer meals, and this is providing sponsors. And Kentucky was an overwhelming success last year. I think we had 80 of our 173 sponsors that offered non-congregate meal services that could pack multiple days of meals in a box or a bag and then have a pickup location where folks could pick up a week's worth of breakfasts or a week's worth of lunch at one time. So we were feeding folks, reaching much more folks. For example, in my home county of Perry County, they served 221,000 meals last summer. Among 4 counties, Barron, Perry, Mercer, and McCracken, they served 1.1 million meals just between the 4 of those with a non-congregate service. So the non-congregate has really been the real game changer in making sure that kids who need access to critical nutrition during the summer get it because it allows us to take the meals to the children. But this also opens up a gigantic market for our farm to school community in terms of getting locally sourced products into those meals. So these are just some of the activities that we could do. Where I think that the network could really help out with this is California has organized where they do a farm to summer celebration week. So for example, this week it's going to be June the 17th through June the 21st, 2024. And they do a lot of promotion around it and excitement around farm to summer. I'm actually creating a resource list, Laurie, of webinars and guides and memos about farm to summer that I'm going to share with you that you can make available to the network. But I think it also would be something that we could resource promote in terms of opportunities for sponsors to learn more about how to do this. This is not anything different. If you're already doing procurement with farm to school, it is generally the same procurement process, except if we use, and Tina, I might need you to correct me better on this, the LFS program, I think you talked about that just a second ago, that if only folks who, I found an FAQ on the Department of Ag's website that only sponsors that participate in Seamless Summer can use the dollars associated with LFS for procurement of foods. Those that participate in the summer food service program cannot. And there's a FAQ that I'm gonna put in that resource list to explain that. Is that right? LFS, local foods, school food or something? What is it?
It's local foods for schools grant. And you are correct. It cannot be used just for summer feeding, but it can be used with Seamless Summer.
Right. And so there's only a handful of Kentucky districts that do Seamless Summer. So, but if you are one of those districts and you're part of this network and you want to use local, that is an option to use that funding pool for you to be able to do procurement there. Promotion of grant opportunities, just like we did. I mean, and finding those connections, like Maddie said about, you know, the smoothies and the fruit and those type of things to be able to be locally grown, that there are some opportunities. And I realize I have spelled opportunity wrong. I left the I out, I believe. All right. And then I actually have a grant opportunity that is available. The Kentucky Kids Eat program through Feeding Kentucky partners with Share Our Strength to lead the No Kid Hungry Kentucky campaign. And through that, we have a grant opportunity. And I know the deadline is Friday. So if you guys are excited about writing a grant over the next couple of days, there is one available. And it is specific to support non-congregate summer meals in USDA designated rural areas of the state. To be able to do that non-congregate service, you have to be designated rural. In Kentucky, we only have one county that got a total non-rural designation. And can you guys guess what county that was? Jefferson was the only county in the state that doesn't have some rural parts to it, according to the USDA. So that means that the majority of 119 of our counties have rural pockets, at least either minority rural, majority rural, or totally rural, where they can offer non-congregate summer meals. Well, No Kid Hungry, and I didn't make this decision, I've had to explain this on several phone calls this week, was only 115 of Kentucky's 120 counties are eligible for this grant. The counties that were excluded were Fayette, Jessamine, Oldham, Boone, and Jefferson. But counties in any of those other organizations, community-based organizations, school organizations, or governmental organizations in any of those other counties are eligible to apply. The grant can be for staffing, equipment, other needs, just can't cover food costs. 5,000 to 20,000 are possible ranges of awards. And if you want the RFP, just email me at john@feedingky.org. All right. Any questions?
John, I'm Brandy Button Johnson, and I'm the Western Kentucky Value Chain Coordinator with the Food Kentucky UK. So I work a lot with buyers, distributors, and a lot of producers that are in that mid to large scale range. And last year, I helped Cheyenne Fant with Barron County coordinate some growers for their summer bag program. And she was so happy with it that she reached out and wants it for every week this year.
Yeah, we were trying to get a grant to be able to pay for it, but that's where I discovered the food service. Like, we can't cover food costs because they wanted to do locally grown bags of produce. And I was so excited. And then my wrist got slapped and said, "We can't pay for food, John." And I was like, okay. But yeah, they're great at Barricade. They did like 400,000 meals last year in Barron.
Yeah, it's insane. So I was actually talking to some producers today doing a little crop planning, doing the 5-cup serving. So I was just gonna ask, is there a way for you to, if you're gonna send Lori that information, if I can get a hold of as much of that information as possible, because the other value chain coordinators are working in the central and eastern parts of the state.
Okay.
And they're very curious kind of how it all worked.
Now, you want the grant opportunity or just the resources on farm to summer?
The resources on farm to summer.
Okay, I've got a Google Doc that I'm developing to share, and there'll be a link with it. But there's actually a really good webinar that featured Letcher County, Kentucky, and their farmers market about choosing to have meal sites. Lori, for you, I have watched hours of webinars for this, so anyway, to get prepared. So I've learned quite a bit about farm to summer, and I'm very excited about it now. But I'll make sure, Brandy, that we get those resources to you.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I have a question though. Is there anything going on with Farm to Summer in Kentucky? Have we got any planned initiatives or celebrations or anything going on with that right now? I didn't know if anybody knew, if anybody was doing anything around it at this point.
I don't know of anything, it's anything organized, John, but there's a lot of stuff that happens around summer meal programs and the activities associated with it. And definitely our 4 garden grantees have some summer plans.
Yeah,
Speaking of which,
yeah, you go ahead.
I would like to go ahead and switch gears so that we can
Sure.
hear from our garden grantees.
Sure, absolutely.
But yeah, if anybody's interested in organizing some kind of farm to summer celebration, let's put it in the chat if you want to do something like that, and we'll see what we can come up with. Let's see, John, can you stop sharing your screen now? Thanks. All right, so we've got 3 of our school garden grantees with us, and I want to give them a few minutes to tell about what kind of plans they have coming up. Mr. Collins, can we get you first? Mr. Collins works for Phoenix Academy in Winchester, part of Clark County Schools. Can you tell us a little bit about Phoenix Academy and your garden plans? I'll jump in here and tell you what Mr. Collins got cut off there. I'm not sure, but he was telling you about his students are actually going to be vendors at their local farmers market. So they have a little social enterprise thing going on, learning the steps of not only planting and harvesting, but also they're going to learn about the marketing and selling. So I'm sorry we had trouble with your sound, Mr. Collins. Let's hear from Tanya McQueen at Catlettsburg Elementary.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, so we have a lower income school of about 200 students in a rural part of Kentucky. A lot of our kids, unfortunately, listening to the food insecurity, I think, fall into that category. So we're looking forward to teaching these kiddos about fresh vegetables and gardening skills, and maybe some skills that would help them in the future, to help sustain their food intake at some point. But we've offered our program to 3rd or to 4th and 5th grade students, and we've had an overwhelming interest. We've got about 25 students signed up to be in our gardening club, and they are going to be meeting tomorrow for the first time. And we have about 6 or 7 teachers and staff members that are eager to help get these kids started. We have not purchased anything yet to start planting, but we're looking forward to doing that in the next week or so and get things in the ground. We have some field trips planned to local greenhouses and our farmers market as well, to show these children, how food is produced and grown and sold, and hopefully to, increase their awareness and their interest. And we're also going to work with a local apartment complex of senior citizens and take some of our produce, to them, and hopefully share some recipes and have a community outreach program, with that high rise here in town. And if our students participate in so many classes, they do have the opportunity to become junior master gardeners. So that is the course that we will be teaching throughout the next few months as they meet after school, and hopefully some will be able to participate in the summer to work in the gardens and continue their education. And we might have a few junior master gardeners as a result of our program.
Thanks, Tanya. Can you tell us about some of the partners you're working with on your project?
Well, we are working with a local greenhouse. That's one partner. He's eager to have the kids come to the greenhouse and going to let them plant and show them some of the processes that he goes through. And then we are working with the extension office here in Boyd County. The master gardeners have taken this project on to help out as well. So they'll be coming to the school to help work with the children, and our local agents are going to be coming and helping. So, and of course the high rise and all of the school teachers and staff, everybody's excited to be working with the kiddos.
Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
And then we also have with us Deb, who introduced herself at the very beginning of our meeting, is with Holmes Middle School in Covington.
Hi.
Can you tell us a little about your school and about your project?
Yeah, we are with Covington Independent School. We are a inner city school. Our goal is to be able to have all of our students be able to participate. So our goal is to do raised gardens, container gardens, and the traditional in the ground garden. We have some children with disabilities, so we also want to make sure that our raised gardens are ADA good, or whatever the right word is there. Sorry, I'm on spring break, so I'm kind of like brain dead. We brought our high school carpentry class on board. They are having a contest to help design our area. They are also going to be building our raised beds, a shed, and other items. We are planning a public and community groundbreaking on Earth Day, with the goal then on May the 12th to have our garden up and running. We have been donated a inside irrigation growing system, and we already have some plants growing. We have plants growing in egg cartons and toilet paper rolls and anything that we could get them growing. We've been getting seeds from people all over the community, as well as some of our teachers have put it out on Facebook. So we are now getting seeds in the mail. So we have seeds coming from everywhere. We have a lot of local little community gardens in our area. So we have some of those neighborhoods involved. We have the extension office involved. We have a local greenhouse involved. To get our garden to the table, we found a local organization that's called La Soup, and they work with inner city students to teach them how to prepare food from the garden. And we will be doing a 9-week crock pot class with them to teach our children how to cook what we grow in a crock pot. And those students who participate will then leave the program with a crock pot. We think that's very important because many of our students go home to no one, and they're responsible for making sure that their siblings as well as themselves have dinner. So we are going to use their help to get our food from the garden to our table, as well as participating hopefully in our local farmers market as well. And that's it for us.
Thanks so much, Deb. And that's it for our time, too. So we have our next Farm to School Network meeting will be in June, second Tuesday. That's the 11th, I think. And yes, Tuesday, June the 11th at 4. And in the meantime, we'll think about this challenge that John's put in front of us to get to ramp up farm to summer meals, and lots of grant opportunities out there right now. So we hope to hear about some folks getting funds for the good work that they want to do. Thank you to everybody who shared things going on in your worlds today, and yeah, good luck with all of your projects, and we'll see you next in June.